Hey.
Thank you. Finally, we got connected. Thank you very much, White, for giving me opportunity to interview you for my YouTube channel and podcast.
I'm very excited to be here. Lovely to see you.
So I thought to tell about you and the work that you are doing to my audience.
So my name is SJ. I am based in the UK. I work for a company called TextHelp, and we make accessible technology. So if you have additional needs, or you need help reading something or seeing text in an image, or if you need help seeing maths and having maths read aloud, that's what we do, and that's what I do. I'm really passionate about ed tech as a whole. Teacher in the classroom for many years as a maths teacher and EdTech person, named in the EdTech 50 in the UK for 2021, and Google Coach, Google Trainer, Google Innovator. So that was 2020. So yeah, do all the things, I think.
So I can see you are into education from long time.
Yeah, yeah. I've been a
What
teacher
what
for
what made you to come into education and teaching?
So I decided that I wanted to make a difference, and I knew that when I went to school, teachers didn't really understand me. And so I hoped that by being a teacher, I would be able to be that teacher that understood all the children. And I hope that I did do that.
So what you do right now?
So right now, I work on a product called Equatio, and that will read maths aloud for people. And it will also give you spaces to practice with maths. So use coins to count on your computer, or to use blocks to make shapes on your computer. And I work on that product, helping teachers make the most of that product for their students.
So you are into this job for
4 months, not long.
okay. So how was working as a Google trainer and Google educator? So for that.
So I did my Google Trainer about 4 years ago, when I was in the classroom. And that then allowed me to then go work in other colleges and other schools to help train people. And I would encourage anyone who has an interest in edtech to become a Google trainer. No matter where you are in the world, you join a wonderful community of people. And I was able to work alongside my teaching for a long time, doing both, training people on Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Classroom, and how to make the most of it in your classroom. And then I was very honoured to be selected to be a Google Innovator, which means that we innovate a product. Mine was about playing games on calls like this and how to build connections with people all around the world. So that's what I focused on. And then I became a Google Coach, which is a different take. And that is about not helping teachers by showing them, that's about helping teachers by asking them to go find and explore new ways themselves, and coaching and supporting them. So that was really interesting as well. And I still do all those things, but just I'm now focused on this one product. But a huge, massive community of Google educators are out there. I'm also a Microsoft educator as well, and I'm a Microsoft Word expert as well. So I do a lot of work about how to get the most out of Microsoft Word as well. So all the products are wonderful, and just push yourselves and do those accreditations, because you can then make a real difference.
So you understand Google products and also Microsoft products.
I do, yeah.
Uh, is that your job or you do because you have interest on it?
It's because it's my interest, and I think that led me to my job. My job now sits across all the products, including Apple. So that's my new challenge, is to learn Apple and how that works. But I think being interested in as many things as you can be to develop your own knowledge makes you a stronger person and challenges the mind, but then it makes you a stronger person when you are interviewing for jobs as well. And I'm sure it played a part in me getting this job here at TextHelp.
So different companies have different products. So what you understanding Microsoft products, like you said, Google products, Google Sheets, and Google, all Google products. So you're working on it. So what makes you to put so much interest?
I don't know. I think I was just interested in how we could get the most out of the technology. I think as teachers in our classroom, we often solve the problem that's right in front of us. And that's great. That's the nature of teaching. And we help the child in front of us. But the world of education technology is massive. And so you need to know a bit about everything to help all the students and to help as many people as possible. And I think if you really push yourself to really strive to do better, you will be more successful the more knowledge you have across different platforms. I think we're entering a world now where we expect people to be able to transfer across platforms. It is becoming more normal that you will be expected to move from a Google Doc to a Microsoft Word to then perhaps into a Miro collaborative board. I think companies are looking and expecting that now.
So what subjects you teach?
So I'm a maths teacher. Um, I always say we're like salespeople. Everybody has to buy from us, but nobody wants to pay the money. Nobody wants to put the effort in to buy what we're selling in maths. Maths is a hard subject. It's a cool subject.
So that is the foundation for you to understand the products of technology.
I think so. I think if you have strong maths knowledge, you can understand technology a lot easier. I think the two interlink nicely, but I think the way we teach maths is still very anti-technology. The way we teach maths is still very pen and paper. And it's about how do we get that maths teaching to catch up with what we're expecting to see in the technology world. And I think that's why I work on the product I work on now, because that has handwriting recognition built in. It has speech to text recognition built in, and it also has screenshot reader. So you can screenshot maths and then type it and edit it. And so what we do on our product is we try and help people bridge that gap from the way we teach maths, which is quite pen and paper based, to that digital. But we've got such a long way to go because, like you say, maths is the foundation of technology. That's how we understand how technology works.
So how you got opportunity to work for Google?
So I didn't work for Google. I worked with Google as their trainer, as a trainer on their products. And you can do it yourself. You can do the accreditation yourself, and then you join a global directory. And in this global directory, customers, schools, clients can look for someone with your skill set. And if they find that you are a match, they can contact you. And Google have this. This is, I think it's like $40 to do this accreditation. So it's not expensive. But once you're in there, you are able to then access this global directory and be found and get work. And the more you do it, the better your skills become because the more advanced you become as well. So it continues to snowball as you go through.
So you spend a lot of your lifetime in education and in teaching. So technology is something that is completely different from education. So edutech. So how you become edutech?
I think this is the challenge. I think this is the challenge that teachers face. Teachers have the way they do things, the way they have done things. Then they might use a bit of technology like a quiz, or they might use a test and use technology. But actually, to move into actual technology, edtech, you need a different set of skills. Those skills have to be driven from other things, not just from your classroom. And I see a lot of teachers wanting to make the leap from classroom to edtech. And I always say there is a lot of work, a groundwork to do beforehand. I'm quite fortunate in that my role is still very teaching driven. My role is still what would a teacher do is what I'm looking at with the technology I work with. But I still have to have knowledge of the development process, the development cycle of a product. how does that product then sit in the Chrome marketplace? How does that product sit as a desktop app? Why would we choose between the two, and why would we offer two different platforms, and why do we support this operating system? And if I'd come straight from the classroom as a teacher, I don't think I would have had that knowledge. I think coming from as a teacher and doing my Google Trainer, Google Coach and Google Innovator, and my Microsoft Word and my certified educators for Microsoft, that helped me build some of that knowledge. But I have to learn an awful lot still of technology, just to know the basics, really. And then I know I've still got a long way to go on that as well.
So you are a technology products user, and like that your interest built and you started understanding the technology products. So that's what you're saying. You are a
Yeah.
user and you use all the products.
All the products.
What can you mention some?
So I think as a teacher, I think we in the products that we use, we make a choice of how are we looking to get the most out of that tool. So if you take something like a Google slide deck, in Google Slides, I could present information to you, and that would be me giving you information. I could ask you as a student to make a slide deck and to give me information. But actually, what would be really great is if we collaborated on that together and we made something together. And as you're creating and thinking about things, me as the teacher can push and challenge and extend your knowledge. So I think Google Slides is a really underrated tool. And especially if you're collaborating, with the little icons in Google Slides, you can see how many people are working on a document at once. You can have, 50 students working on one document at once. Well, that document is going to be 50 times better than if I'd made it or you'd made it on your own.
So you understand the user interface of all the products, how to use it, and why we should use it.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is you need to understand why you would use the product, why you would choose that product. And as a user, be interested in why that product behaves in that way. When I'm now developing products with TextHelp, I'm not in the development team, but I am there as the teacher helping shape what that user experience might look like. And as a developer, I think developers need people like me who have that real deep understanding of that front end user experience to be able to make those products better. So I'll go into a meeting and we'll look at an image of what the user face will look like in the end that the developers are thinking of. And then I can say, well, as a teacher, I would like it to have this and I would like it to have this. And then we come to a discussion of how that looks and feels from a development side of things. And it's that two-way process between developers and end users, but we're doing it internally within our organization. And I think that is the crucial part, is having that two-way conversation between developers and end users to make the most of that feature, to make sure that it's going to hit the market in the right way.
So from when you started understanding the software products?
So when I started understanding the software products, yeah?
Yeah, it is part of your job, you said.
Yeah, so this is part of my job. My job is to think of what does the end user want, look and feel. And then we can go to testing and we can put it out wider. Obviously, it's not just my opinion. We can test wider than that. But what we need is, in technology, we need really good people to do all of the things that piece together. So we need really good developers that are really skilled and understand developing. We need really good people who can manage that process, who might not have as much technical knowledge of developing, but they have an overview of project management skills. Then we need people to quality assure and to check that work. Then we need people to test it. And then we need people to put the end user in as well. And it's a long chain of process. My role sort of sits across quite a few of those phases, where in each of them, the project manager can say, what would an end user think about this? And then I'll prioritize the tasks differently. A developer might say, what would an end user think about this? And then that might change the way that they develop. A quality assurance person might say, what would an end user think about this way of doing things, and that might change the way their quality is shown. So that end user viewpoint is really useful across the product cycle.
So as a Google innovator, what you did?
Sorry, say that again, I didn't get that.
As a Google innovator, what you did?
So as my Google Innovator project, I did playing games, which sounds silly, but I think in a world where we can globally connect like this, I'm in the UK, you're not in the UK, we can globally connect, but what's missing sometimes is how do we understand the person that we're talking to? How do we build those connections? And I think in technology, we're shifting to more and more global teams, where teams are located around the world and we are interacting with them based on our customs of where we're based. And so I think culturally, we have a lot of work to do. And so what I was looking to do as my Google innovator was to build a way for people to build connections. So I created a playbook of 50 games that you can play on a video call. Something silly, something fun, but just to break the ice and to get people talking and connecting. And then we did this globally with some Google innovators all around Europe as well. And we just had a really good laugh. And then that builds those bonds and those connections that mean that you work smarter and more efficient as a team as well.
So how many people used your product that you created?
Oh, well, so it's hit over 20,000. It might be 30,000, which from a small place in the UK is massive to me. It's absolutely huge. It was picked up as well by I wrote it on a platform called Book Creator. So Book Creator allows you to create interactive books digitally. Students can create content, teachers can create content, you can create instructional manuals, you can do all sorts of things on Book Creator. They picked it up and they've actually showcased it as one of their key books in their product. So yeah, that was really helpful. But what was interesting was that it was fully global. So it's fully gone around the world. There are people in I think it's over 100 countries have played games in this book. And that makes me very happy that people are playing games and having fun.
So have you collected the user experiences?
Yeah, so we've talked to a few people, and what we're looking at here is we're looking at how do you build those connections with people, and it's a slightly different take on the user experience of the product, because actually the product gives you the idea to play the game, the people make the game. And I think that sort of for me is my ethos, in that the user experience is slightly different in that it's people playing the game and their interpretation of the game. So I'll give you an example. We might play a game now where I would say to you that, and we had someone else on the call, the fastest person to come back to the call with something red. And that would just be a bit of fun. And the user experience then depends on how I set the game up and how you play the game as participants on the call. And that's changed globally as we've gone through. So some schools use it as icebreakers when they start schools. Some companies have used it for new team members joining their team, and some companies use it for celebration events. So for the holidays, you might play some of these games at the holidays and build connections that way as well. So I'm really pleased with its reach.
So you have done one project and by yourself. So you observe different products, right? Different products. So what you understand when you explore it, or when you try to see how that is working, and what do you think how Google is thinking about creating products or making new products?
Yeah, I think the Google experience is quite different. I have the hat with the spinny thing on top, and I think that's that just shows how fun they are as a company, and that they want fun to be at the center of what they do. I think Google's on a journey to really transform education products for users. I think I was looking at Imagen this week, where you describe an image and Google will create an image, and AI is the biggest trend that I see now. I've also had a product that is like a smart speaker in my classroom, called a Merlin Mind, and that, again, that artificial intelligence is the new trend. And I think that's the exciting thing to watch for, is how do we make products now that use artificial intelligence that enhance traditional experiences. That's what I'm seeing.
I think you're too much educated. Maybe that is one. That is why the reason you even want to study the technology, even want to see the education of technology,
Yeah, I think so.
right? Because you're talking about operating system and you're talking about AI, which is not actually educated.
But it is the future. So I've had an artificial intelligence speaker in my classroom. I can say, "Hey Merlin, open my Google slide deck," and it will change my display in my classroom. "Hey Merlin, print my task out for class 2." And this artificial intelligence speaker will do that. And I think technology is coming that way, and educators are coming that way as well. Slowly, educators are coming that way. But I think this is the trend that we're seeing.
So, what do you say about automation?
I think automation is really important. I think it is super important, but I have huge concerns. I have concerns of how automation impacts on the user experience. Has it got that care and attention that a human can do? But I think automation is super important for the efficiency and drive and scalability of products as well. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing. So there has to be a balance, but it's very clever people who can build automation, and I think that is the skill set that, as an educator, I strive to build, that mindset that you could possibly do that. It's that shift in mindset that we need to build in people to help build those products better, I think.
And what do you say about data governance?
Well, I think as an educator, this is a key thing, and I think the lack of awareness of end users is the issue. I think if users were more aware, there would be better data governance, I think, would be my take. Users need to affect the change. They need to be interested in what's happening to their data, who owns their data, where is their data going. How often do people just tick the box and say, "Yes, I accept," without actually reading that privacy policy? And I think when we're working with children, that becomes super important as an educator, because as the educator, I am making those decisions on their data, with their parents. And that is huge. That's a huge responsibility. So I also do a lot of work around how we educate children on their data and what does their data do. So even as children as young as 4 years old, I think we need to have a conversation about, where does your data sit, what do you want to share, and how does your data look. And then I think that's one part of the puzzle. The other part of the puzzle are companies being super responsible for data governance. I think we have let things slide and let things happen for a really long time with data now, and there is a shift for people to be more clear on what's happening with data, but actually companies need to be more proactive rather than reactive, and I think we're still in a reactive phase of looking at data governance.
And data security?
I think that goes hand in hand. I think with data security, you would never knowingly let someone access your information. So companies need to invest heavily in data security. Of course they do. But actually the end user needs to choose their products carefully based on data security. Data is one of the most precious commodities now. You think about the price of gold, you think about the price of precious metals, but actually data carries a massive price now. And if data is that valuable to an external wanting to buy that data, why is it not that valuable to the end user? Why are they not taking as much of an interest in where they're sharing that data? But also companies, Why are they opening themselves to risk where they could be held to ransom under a data security for that data as well? So that when again it's this reactive, we're still very reactive on the data security front. We need to be more proactive collectively.
As a teacher, as a coach, you are understanding the technology and understanding the software tools, how to use it. That is great. And do you think that the students that you are teaching to, they understand the tools that you are using and they can able to connect uh, with the education with those tools?
I think my job is not just to teach maths. My job is to teach maths, but my job is to get them ready for the world. What does the world need from them? What can they offer to the world? What skills have they got? And I think the technology comes secondary. It's the skills of being able to be flexible and adaptable to use technology, to intuitively know that doing this will cause this output. It doesn't matter what the platform is. I think students need to learn the skills that they can interact with technology, be confident in interacting with technology, but then understand that regardless of the platform, their interactions will deliver a similar outcome. Then, once we've got those sorts of skills, we can start to think about communicating on the technology, collaborating on the technology, creatively thinking of how to use the technology. And that's what we need to do as teachers, not just teach the subject. So I don't just teach maths, I need to teach all these other skills as well that go along with it to get the students ready for when they leave school.
Do you think that technology is going to replace human beings?
Oh, well, I don't think it'll replace human beings, but I think there is so much that could be replaced. There's so much that we do that could be done in a more efficient way, but that's not what we're aiming for. I don't think that's the goal. I think the goal for everyone is to find technology that solves a problem. Um, and then things will slowly get replaced for sure, but I don't think the problem is to get rid of humans. Technology can help us. It can help us a lot more than it is doing, and we need to harness that power to get more out of the technology we've already got first, I think.
So, as an educator, what do you say to the technology world, like technology companies, Google, Microsoft, or Apple, or whatever the companies who are listening and watching you right now? So, what do you say to them about software products?
I think that the products that are out there are great. Everything is super cool. But again, I come back to this end user viewpoint. Have you got an end user viewpoint throughout the process of product development? Because the products need to be suitable for where we are now and where we are in the future. If you look at something like, I don't know, Jamboard in Google, great for collaborating, it's super popular, everybody really loves it. But my question isn't to the companies about what's happening now. My question is what's happening in 5 years' time? What's happening in 10 years' time? Are we ready for what do these children need to learn? What skills do they need to learn? And I would love to see some sort of way for students to be able to understand more of the product in terms of the technology aspects of the product. So I would love to be able to see how students in the product could learn a little bit of code, a little bit of development, or it does this because of this. And I think that's the challenge to the companies now, is to help students learn some of their secrets as well.
You worked on any development, software development?
Yes, so that's what I do now at TEXTHELP, is that we develop products to make technology more accessible. We create accessible technology to help students and people in the workplace all around the world. We've got 10 million users on the maths product that I work on at the moment. And so yeah, we do a lot.
So, what tools do you use?
Oh, well, I don't actually do the developing. I'm the end user viewpoint of it.
Okay. So, 10 million users is not a small number. So, what do you think that worked?
Yeah, so 10 million users use our maths product all around the world to make maths accessible. We know that screen readers can't read maths very well, so we've built a screen reader that reads maths, and we want to make that grow and grow and grow. 10 million is not enough for us. We want more than 10 million. This product's only been around for a few years, so I think it's in less than 4 years we've hit 10 million, which we're pretty pleased with, but we want much, much more.
So, do you think that the same way that you are going in order to reach more number, do you think for every subject like physics, chemistry, and all other subjects, do you think uh, the developers need to follow the same way that you are following?
Yeah, I think so for sure. We do physics and we do chemistry within the product as well. It is maths and science, but I think we have more to do on the science front. Yeah, absolutely. We have more to do on the maths front as well. I think if you made a product and then we're like, oh, I've made this product, it's brilliant, then you're not going to hit 10 million users. Obviously, over the past few years, we've constantly changed and evaluated the product. And what excites me is seeing that we are future proofing the product. We are thinking, what will people need in 5 years' time? And let's be ready for that now. And that's exciting.
So, which sense human is using more to connect with software product?
Sorry, say that again. I didn't get that.
Which sense human is using to connect with software product more?
I think it varies. I think it varies all the time. Um, yeah, I think I'm not sure if it's your connection or my connection, but I'm losing you an awful lot. So if I disappear, I disappear. I'm really sorry. I think I'm having a bit of internet issues at the moment.
I can hear you. It is recording. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I'm so sorry. So yeah, what was I saying? Oh, so our accessible technology. So our accessible technology, if you had a visual impairment, we would read it aloud, but we also support handwritten input, speech input. So if you couldn't write or type, we will give you the tools to help you input into your technology. And I think that for me is exciting because that's exciting now, that's exciting in the future, and it's giving people access to technology that they couldn't have before. And so accessibility seems to be a big trend as well, and that's where we're putting all our energies.
So before we used to get education uh, without technology. Now technology is making education easier. So what do you think in human mind? The education is already there, and this technology is just trying to awake the human mind, or they are getting getting education from you people.
I think that's true. I think knowledge is a base that we build from, and I think technology can help us bring into that knowledge base. So bring in things that weren't previously available to us. And I think once we have that knowledge, it can go out further as well. And I think when we think about education, we think about standing and writing or writing in the book, and that's not using technology. And we have a duty. It is our responsibility as educators to it's our responsibility as educators to sorry, I can see my internet's going again. Sorry. It's our responsibility to get children ready for that world of work and to get ready for the future of what work is looking like for them. And that's why it's exciting to mix the two of education and technology.
So when everything is automated, how human can develop skills?
Well, yeah, this is the thing. What will humans learn when everything's automated? But I think when that happens, we'll worry about that. But I think humans need to be prepared to interact better with automated technology and to not trust it as much. Sometimes automation isn't quite correct and you might need to make an adjustment. And I think that's the skill of the human, is being able to make those adjustments to the automation. And so there's still a place for humans, I think. I'm sure. I'm convinced.
There are still plays.
I think so. I think we will still need humans. And if I'm honest, I quite like a hug and human contact. I think that will be the future for us, I think, for sure.
So you're into education from long time. So which subject is going to be disappeared with this technology advancement?
100%. We need to be better at teaching coding. We need to be better at teaching script writing. We need to be better at teaching problem solving. And we need to start that at a really early age. And that will be the key for us as educators to keep us relevant as educators as well. Is how do we as educators keep things fresh, keep things learning, but still driving those skills for our students. That's our duty.
My question is, what human is going to lose with this technology advancement?
Well, I think there are always losers, aren't there, with everything that we do. But I think when we look to replace things or to build automation into things, the role of the educator is still to explain things that you might not have been able to understand, to put things in your speak or to relay the information in a more comforting or accessible way. So as much as things will be replaced, I think you will still crave that comforting feeling in your education. So you will still need a human to do that, but it might not be in the way that it happens currently. So I think the risk is that if teachers don't change, I think they are at risk of elements of the teaching role to be replaced. Like if I'm going to teach, I don't know, let's say differential equations, I could get a textbook out and I could explain it to you and you could do differential equations. But you could probably teach them yourself using YouTube. You could probably find someone on YouTube who's done differential equations, teach them yourself, start to learn those differential equations, and then come back into the classroom. And the meaningful part for the educator then is that meaningful discussion once you've studied that content. So I think if you were an educator who just delivered content, then there is a risk that you would possibly be replaced. But actually, the value of an educator for me is those meaningful discussions once content has been learned.
As a edutech person, do you understand the biology of the technology?
I can't hear you. I'm so sorry.
As a edutech person, are you do you understand the biology of the technology?
Do you know, I do and I don't. I have limited knowledge, but that's through personal interest. At no point has it been a requirement of me to understand any of that. I think it's just because I'm genuinely interested in it. And I think we're all interested in things, and that's just what I'm interested in. But I think as educators, it's not our place to understand things in that level of detail. That's someone else's place. But it's useful to know how what we're doing affects those things. So I think it's always important to take an interest, but not be the expert, because that otherwise the experts will be replaced.
So if human thoughts are called as software products, and that thoughts will be there in human mind, and human mind is there in human brain, and brain is physical. So this is physical thing. So when you're understanding software products, you need to understand hardware thing. Do you?
Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy. Yeah, totally.
So have you gone through the hardware thing? Data centers, software, physical things, hard processors, everything, RAM.
I think as an educator, that's not something that we would look at, no. But obviously, where I work now, yeah, we do that all the time. Yeah, it's not where my area of expertise is, though.
Yeah, because I'm asking this question because you said you want to reach more than 10 million, right? So, so in order to increase the number, to improve the software service, you need hardware configuration at the same time. So, it is very important for you to understand the physical thing of the technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the beauty of working in a large global organization, is that we have experts all around the world within TEXTHELP that can look after those things for us.
You understand AWS cloud services?
Yeah. Yeah. Personally, yes, but it's not part of my job. But yes, I do understand them. Yeah.
Have you used those services? Any of the services?
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the first things that I ever coded was an API to go into Google. But this is just hobby. This is my hobby. This is my interest. It's not what's required of me. But yeah, and I think it's fun to develop yourself and to push yourself to code things. Sure.
So at last, what do you say about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Yeah, I watched a great chat you had, one of your podcast episodes with a product I think the lady was from India. Anyway, it was super interesting. I found it super fascinating. And what I find interesting, and this is my question for you, is what's your plans for your channel? What are you wanting to do next?
So I want to work in technology governance, data governance.
Ah,
So this user experiences, this people who are into technology and education, not only in a particular field or particular profession. I interview police officers, authors, artists, filmmakers, everybody. My field is technology. I did software in masters in software engineering and bachelor's in computer science and engineering. So this is not my job, but
no, this is your hobby. Like mine is a little bit of coding.
yeah, just trying to understand what different people are thinking and what they are thinking and what they have experienced and what the work that they are doing. Like you said, you understood the different Google products and you become an innovator, Google innovator. Maybe understanding different human beings from different parts of the world who are into different professions and who are into different levels, different age groups, understanding and putting all this information in my head. Maybe in a place in a product development, the global product development, I can contribute something which will also help in AI development or anything which is like uh, human and technology connectivity. I want to work in that.
Amazing. Yeah, 100%, 100%. I'm really sorry. I've just had an urgent message come through. Are we all right to wrap this up?
Yeah, can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Of course you can. Of course you can.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Of course you can.
Thank you again.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye bye bye.